So dear respected Thai, dear Sangha. So today is Sunday in Southeast Asia, and you're sitting, the Sangha's sitting in Kuala Lumpur, and I am sitting in Hanoi, and our Dharma sister Lynn is sitting on a Saturday evening in Scottsdale, Arizona. So all due to the miracle of technology. So Sister Connie asked if I would give a talk today, and of course I said yes. You know that I have felt for some years now, actually since 2017, that I have like a special relationship with all of you in Malaysia. It's just been such a every time I've gone there, all of my interactions have been so loving and inclusive and just wonderful. So I'm happy to be with you today, and I see that we have another friend who's joined us, and it's, her name is Tani Nguyen, and she's sitting in Hoi An in central Vietnam. And Tani's a teenager, daughter of a dear friend with whom we've been friends and worked together on humanitarian projects and social issues in central Vietnam since 2011. So I've known Tani since she was about 4 or 5 years old, and now she's a grown-up young woman. And she will be with us on retreat beginning next weekend. So Sister Connie suggested the title for today, We are made for these times. And that comes from, or that phrase probably is a little bit fresh in the minds of some of us because one of our senior and very wise lay Dharma teachers in the U.S., who was a nun at Plum Village for 15 years before leaving the monastic life and becoming a lay teacher and marrying and living happily and doing wonderful work. And she wrote a book entitled We Are Made for These Times, which on the surface, that title, so what does that mean? We're made for these times. Maybe the times are made for us. Maybe the times and we have collaborated. But I really hear it as we can do this. We can do it, whatever it is. That we can respond and prevail, persevere and prevail. In whatever the challenge might be. And we certainly are faced with a lot of challenges these days. And some of them are so huge that it's difficult to even think about them or to know how to think about them. And so we worry a lot. I believe that's very natural and normal. If we watch the news and we know that the climate is, it's not just climate change anymore, it's the climate emergency. And you had your own in Malaysia, in a part of Malaysia, during Tet, I understand from Connie. What started as just the normal rain became such a downpour that there was flooding in the town where Connie and all of her extended family were gathered for Tet, for Chinese New Year, to celebrate Chinese New Year, called Tet in Vietnam. And so yes, it's a climate emergency. And then added to that, of course, the wars, the ongoing wars, small but deadly wars here and there, and then the political upheaval, particularly in the last few months, the last few weeks. So we have friends joining us, 2 friends from Chennai, India, I see. These are friends who we know through our Zoom sessions once a week. And some of us know each other because of the recent online course offered by Plum Village, Who is Thich Nhat Hanh? And so maybe some of you in Malaysia participated in that. It was quite wonderful. And was global and involved, I don't know, 500, 600, 700 people globally over a period of 14 weeks. So yes, so these seem to be desperate times. But the truth is, it seems to me, is that for people on the planet, there have always been desperate times. Maybe the words sounded a bit different. Maybe 2,000 years ago people didn't talk about the climate emergency. But surely there were storms that affected neighborhoods and areas that caused death, destruction. There have always been wars. So I'm tempted to ask, so what's new about that? We just know so much more now, don't we? Because of the technology. We know immediately. We can, if we're online, we can know within 2 minutes something that's happened on the other side of the planet. The reporting is that instantaneous. And so then we sit on this side of the planet and we're shaken to the core by something that's happened on the other side of the planet. What can I do? Oh no. Oh, how terrible. And so we, of course, empathize right away, which is a very human and very emotionally intelligent response. People who have a certain degree of emotional intelligence are capable of feeling that empathy, of feeling that oneness with others, so that when we hear of something terrible, some catastrophe happening, wherever it's happening to other people, we feel it too. And that's part of what's made us for these times, that we are people who can feel that. We would be somehow less than the human being that I want to be if I couldn't feel that, if I was not touched. So with the good news of I can feel, and I have a heart, and I feel empathy, also comes with the bad news that I feel pain because of it. I might suffer because of something that's happened to someone else on the other side of the globe. So with the happiness comes the pain as well. So what do we do about all that? And I think that's what many of us sort of stew about, right? And feel helpless and maybe even hopeless. Or just feel inadequate somehow, like I should be doing something, but what? What can I do? Well, I can take care of what's right here. I remember the last retreat, big retreat that our teacher Thai gave at Plum Village in 2014, Plum Village, France. And it was entitled, What Happens When I Die? Or What Happens When We Die? And Thai subtitled it, Well, What's Happening Now? So he invited us during that retreat, 3 weeks retreat that I attended, to come back to the present. The fact is we don't know. We can have a feeling that, and we can have an understanding, but we're not there yet. So the real practice is to stay here now, and to practice with the not knowing about the future. So the future is what is when we start really, letting ourselves go there. We get scared, don't we? I do. I can feel it. It's a very human thing. Fear is sometimes it's a very good feeling to have. It lets us know, watch out, something's about to happen, so pay attention. And in fact, I read, I thought this was quite beautiful, and so true, it seems to me. It really resonated, and that is that what is happening on the planet right now, that we know is happening, if we believe in the science and we believe in what our own eyes see, if we happen to be in Sawarak during the Chinese New Year, we see the flooding, we see with our own eyes, we see the suffering. And it's happening here and there, and forest fires and urban fires and mudslides and earthquakes and tidal waves and volcanic eruptions and things that have actually always happened but have sped up. So it seems, so the quote, what I read that was, I thought so beautiful, was that this pain and this suffering that we on the planet are feeling now, it's really a sacred call. That's what the quote was. A sacred call to wake up. So we're being called to wake up. We're being called to come to the moment. So too many people, the huge majority of human beings on the planet, have not attended a day of mindfulness like you're doing today. They've not been interested to hear a talk or to discuss these things or to hear these things. Not because anything is wrong with them. I was there. I was one of those, and perhaps you were too. You probably have come to this path over time, but you weren't always aware that there was another way, and that you hadn't met a teacher or teachings. So, Thai said in that retreat in 2014, he said, he was pretty clear. He talked about the threat of extinction of the human species, as we know that so many species other than humans are going extinct as we speak right now. Millions already have. But that's always happened too. I thought last night, I was thinking about this talk today, and I thought, wow, the dinosaurs went away. I'm not sure that I would like to get friendly with a dinosaur today, but I wouldn't mind seeing one behind a very strong fence or something at a zoo or something. I'd like to see what a dinosaur is like, and yet I never will, because he went extinct long, long ago. In some year, some eon, people will be saying that about the cardinal, the Carolina wren, the bunny rabbit, and maybe the human beings. Yeah. So Ty said during that retreat that, we just, as a human species, we had not been able to. This is, I think, pretty much a direct quote, the way he said it, in a kind of a vague way too, but he said, we haven't been able to wake up enough. We haven't been able to bring ourselves along enough. And I thought about that last night because of what's happening in the U.S. People in the U.S. and in many parts of the world are getting a real wake-up call. And partially because for so many in the U.S. and in many parts of the world, life has been good. Life has been good for the last few decades. In fact, if you read about it, we've had 80 years since the end of World War II. 80 years. 80 years without without a world war. So generally, the world has been at peace, and in the last 80 years, because of the peace that we've had in so many places, the standard of living has come up. More people have come out of poverty. More women are educated. More people are educated. More people have electricity. More people have indoor plumbing. And in the U.S., a very rich country relative to many. What happens when you have it so easy? Well, I'm reminded of a quote from my mother. She was not talking about anything that we're talking about in a way, but she was talking about some people in our lives, and she said to me, they just don't understand because they've never been poor. So when you're living so well, and you get caught up in the material of daily life, I think we need a new microwave. I'll go shop for that today. So I spend my day looking for a microwave oven. Or, why don't we get a new car? This one's, we've had it already for 3 or 4 years, and it's got a lot of mileage on it, and so you spend your time looking for a car. And of course, whoever's paying for that car is spending their time working, perhaps at Right Livelihood, but perhaps not, perhaps just for the money, so that they can buy that car. And so who's thinking about living simply? Who's thinking about protecting the planet? Who's thinking about even taking care of themselves? Who's thinking about eating vegetarian when you can have a big thick steak on your plate? So many distractions. So it's like we're in a dream world. We live in a dream state, thinking it's always going to be like this. So we're almost hypnotized by the good life, or maybe even by something we're consuming, whether it's desserts or alcohol or pills or whatever it is, or working really hard to make that money. And we don't pay attention. And we forget that we even have a spiritual life. We forget that we're spiritual beings. We don't even know that we are. Maybe we never knew it. So we haven't waked up enough to know that at all. And so then all of a sudden, it seems that things are happening all of a sudden, when actually they've been happening all along. We just weren't noticing. We weren't aware of something called impermanence. We actually thought it would always be like this. Every day would be like this day. And I would always feel this good. And I would have the mobility to be able to walk down the street. I wouldn't see myself as getting old or being sick, or that wouldn't occur to me because my life is so full of distractions. So then, when something like the recent political upheaval in the U.S. that's affected so much of the world, there's a lot of shock. Like, what? What's happening? How can it be? Well, no, I didn't vote because the lines were long and it was raining, and I didn't vote. Or no, I didn't read it. No, I haven't been paying attention to who was running for office. Not involved, not paying attention to what's going on in one's community, not even perhaps in one's family. So distractions and ignorance about the truth of impermanence. And then a lot of depression. And what's the depression but unexpressed emotions? It's very tiring to have to keep those fears, that anxiety, those negative emotions, to keep them down and keep that smile on the face and be happy because of the new microwave oven. When actually down deep I know something's wrong. Life has to be about something more than this. It can't be just this, can it? I must be here for some reason, some purpose. What is my purpose? I don't know. I don't know. Is there anything cool to drink in the refrigerator? Let me just distract myself. Yeah. So I would like to invite us to let me guide you in a meditation. And I want you to really, it's going to be more than one sentence. I'm going to give you a little time between. I have a bell here, so I'll use the bell to go from one sentence and invite you to feel about that and reflect on it. I'll use the bell to transition. So if you would assume a nice, beautiful posture, but comfortable, but set your intention to be fully present, fully aware. And you might want to close your eyes if that works for you, or maybe just half closed, and maybe stop your gaze somewhere in front of you a little bit, just to bring all of your attention to your body and mind and heart, feelings. And if at any time during this guidance you don't feel comfortable, open your eyes. Just open your eyes and look around a little bit and then come back. Just to remind yourself that you're sitting with friends, you're in a safe place, and we're all having this experience together for the best of reasons, good intentions. So this meditation is called the 5 Remembrances. Many of us are very familiar with them. the more familiar we are with them, the more comfortable we become with the truth that they express, and the less anxiety and fear we have as we contemplate them. So, paying attention to the breathing, you might want to take in a nice deep breath, slowly exhale. Breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. And breathing out, I'm aware of that out-breath. I'm aware of my body. I can feel my feet on the floor, on the earth. Or maybe my bottom is sitting on the cushion that's on the floor, that's on the earth. I can feel that weight. I can let go of any tension in my shoulders. I might be aware of tension in the belly, abdomen. So just breathe into that and relax, letting go of the tension. And as I breathe in, I realize I am of the nature to grow old, and that there is no way to escape growing old. So we're invited to visualize ourselves. So visualize yourself as a very old person. Your hair is gray, your face is a mass of wrinkles. Your legs are very thin and weak. Your arms. You've lived to be a ripe old age, but you're very, very weak and tired. Can you see yourself the way you might look 20 years from now, 30 years from now? For some of us, 40 years from now. So continuing to be aware of the breath, entering and exiting the body. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no escape from having ill health. If I live long enough, I am sure I will have ill health. So can you visualize yourself very sick, perhaps bedridden, unable to walk? Like our teacher Ty, he had a major stroke. He was totally dependent on others. Can you imagine yourself being in that situation? Someone has to bathe you, feed you, clean your bottom. Can you imagine that? That is the reality for millions and millions and millions of people in this very moment. And so it will happen to us too. very much a natural part of having been born as a human being. So breathe deep into the body, relax. We're all here together. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. Can you visualize yourself on your deathbed? How would you like for that to be? What's your perfect scenario for when you take your last breaths? Are you alert? Do you have loved ones with you? Someone holding your hand? Someone placing their hand on your forehead the way your mother did when you were young? Can you imagine making eye contact with each of your loved ones just moments before you take your last breath? A silent goodbye as you let go. Imagine how you would like for it to be, because it will be. We die. How do I want it? Continuing to breathe. We're still here. This is a practice of visualization and facing our fear. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature to change. Everyone and everything. It's happening even now as we speak. Everything is changing. The cells in our body are changing. They're dying and new ones are being born. I read that somewhere that 100 million new red blood cells are produced every minute in our body. 100 million red blood cells, new ones. So we're dying and being born, we change. Everyone is changing. Our loved ones, our mothers, our fathers, our siblings, our aunties and uncles, grandpa, grandma, teacher, friend, everyone changing, everyone in the process of dying, everyone changing. There is no way for me to escape being separated from all those I love. There's no way. We will be separated from them, and they from us. Continuing to breathe. letting that fact sink in, aware of the feelings around it. Is there pain in the heart? A sick feeling in the stomach? Fear? Anxiety? What is there? I inherit the results of my actions of body, speech, and mind. I inherit the results of my actions of body, speech, and mind. My actions are my only continuation. The results of my actions are my only possessions. It's all that can go with me and will continue. We continue as the results of our actions. Actions of thought, speech, body. So if you'll open your eyes gently, you might look around at your Sangha siblings. You might want to make eye contact and smile. We're all in this together, you know. We're not separate. We have a lot of company. And knowing that really lessens the fear, does it not? It lessens that discomfort. Yeah. And certainly, when bad things happen, bad things meaning things that are painful, that we would just as soon not have happen to ourselves or to our loved ones, we never ever have to feel that it's tragic or that we're victims somehow. It's just what happens to people, to human beings. It's life on the planet. And instead of sinking into despair about it, we can face it. We can see life as it truly is and find a lot of solace there. And maybe even a smile. I have often thought, I would definitely not want to be the last person standing. Yeah, so, in other words, there's community is such a lovely, wonderful, reassuring source of happiness, of comfort. I think that's a better word, comfort. And also happiness, but comfort. Just knowing I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I'm never alone. We all share the same present and future. So I know that facing our fears is the best thing we can do. My first teacher used to say there's only one way out of fear. You can't really, she would say, you can't jump over it. You can't go around it. The only way is to go right through it. Face it, in other words. Feel it. Acknowledge it. Hello, fear. I know you're a big part of being human. You're just one of those states of mind, 51 states of mind, being a human being. So we don't ignore it or dishonor it. We honor it. We acknowledge it. Yes. And we spend time reflecting, what is it? And you might want to do this right now. In fact, maybe I'll be quiet for just a few minute or two or three, and ask yourself in this moment, what is it that I'm really afraid of? Is it some part of that meditation? Or does it have another face? What's a fear for me that maybe wakes me up in the night? So I'll share what mine is. My fear is of I have 2 sons and 2 daughters, a daughter and a daughter-in-law, married to one of my sons. My fear is that something physical, some, how to say it, something we would call tragic, some accident or some catastrophe like that, something physical will happen to them. An earthquake. My son and daughter-in-law live in the San Francisco Bay Area, known for earthquakes. Oh no, don't move to California. Now I have to be concerned about an earthquake. I laugh because it is laughable, but still it's a feeling that I have, and it comes up, and I notice if there is a tremor in Northern California and it's in the news, I manage to see it somehow. It's like, oh no. Is that a precursor to something bigger that's coming? So such a waste of the moment. So I try to work with that, but that is my fear. There are endless things to be afraid of. Endless. Snake bites. This is a year of the snake. Many people die. In African countries in particular. Many people die from snake bites. So there's the list of what we can fear is endless, I suppose. So what do we do about that? Nothing. We come back to the moment and we say, I'm sitting right here, right now. Actually, everything around me is okay right now. And my work is an inner job of developing confidence and trust. So our teacher used to say, If you take care of this moment, the future takes care of itself, because this present moment is the future. He would also say, if you want to know what tomorrow is going to look like, look at today. In other words, how you are feeling today, how you are responding to stimuli today, because very likely you'll be doing that tomorrow. And so if you don't like the way you respond today, if you don't like the fact that you wake up being concerned that your children might be in an earthquake, then it's time to spend more time really reflecting on that, and more time being present for my oatmeal in the mornings, being more present in this moment, and practicing gratitude for what I have today. And also realizing that, I think this meditation is helpful, that even if that does happen, it's not necessarily so tragic. We don't have to see it that way. Of course, we hurt. We feel loss. We feel the pain. We suffer. But that's a very human state to be in. And there isn't anyone on the planet who doesn't have that. So it just reminds us we're part of the human family. People are losing loved ones every day in what we call tragic, unexpected ways that we would wish would never happen, but they do, because that's life on the planet. So the practice of accepting what it is to be human is a big practice, a deep practice, and one that will serve us well. So I'm going to, I don't remember how much time we have. Seems we started earlier than we even thought we were going to start. Shall we switch to Q&A? Because that can be much more pointed, direct, and really addressing exactly what is on someone's mind. So I will turn the recorder off so that I am remembering that, so that you don't have to be concerned about finding your voice somewhere on the internet asking a question. You just as soon not have the whole world here. But you know that you're here with Sangha, and it's a safe space, and you can have confidence in that. So let me turn that recorder off.